You know what we're going to do tonight? We're going to talk about Mojo. We're going to talk about what can we do just to dig in a little deeper into Duluth and find out what makes us trendy and what's making us hot and what's making us the place to be now. So that's what Mojo is all about, finding your magic. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. Recently, I don't know about the volume. Are you okay? Okay, recently in the Atlanta Business Chronicle, 4 cities were mentioned: Duluth, Alpharetta, Roswell, and Sandy Springs in the Atlanta Business Chronicle. And also recently in a newspaper called Georgia Cities, there's a full page on downtown Duluth, arts and entertainment. And then coming out again in next month in Georgia Trend magazine, Duluth was named one of the 6 destination cities in Georgia. So people are definitely looking our way, aren't they? You know, many municipalities struggle with uniqueness. Sometimes cities will say, well, we've got all these great things going on. We've got bike paths, and we've got coffee shop, we've got tattoo stores, we've got great restaurants, we've got entertainment, public art. Well, those are all very, very, very important amenities. And we have all those now. And you know what? A lot of other cities do too. So what are we going to do to be even more unique? How can we go even deeper to make Duluth a more attractive destination for people to move here and bring their families here? Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm saying all those things are very critical and very important. If we didn't have sidewalks and we didn't have bike paths and coffee shops and all the great little boutique shops that are popping up, we wouldn't be where we are now. So it's very important. All those things have to be in place to be a sustainable city. But we're going to go just a little bit further tonight, okay? How many of you know anything about continental divides? Okay, I'm going to put a map of that up. All right, in the United States, there are 6 continental divides. One of those runs through our city. Now that's pretty darn unique, isn't it? The Eastern Continental Divide runs through our city. Chris is going to point that out for us. The most famous of all the divides, as you know, is in Colorado, out west, the Great Continental Divide. But the Eastern Continental Divide is also very important. It runs south, southwest, south. It starts in Pennsylvania, runs through 7 states, including our own Duluth, and ends up in Kissimmee, Florida. This Eastern Continental Divide even has a Facebook page. So it's a cool thing. Continental divides are exactly the reasons that some cities are even founded. The old City Hall, or the old Baptist Church, the rock building that we're going to be saving, actually sits on top of the Eastern Continental Divide. And if you go over there and look, you can see that the church steps, you can see here, have a crack in them. When this church burned in 1946, citizens actually rebuilt the church back on the Continental Divide, but this time they used old railroad tracks and railroad ties to put the church on. So if you go up underneath that church, you can see railroad tracks and railroad ties under that church. That's pretty stable, isn't it? That's why we're keeping that building. Another thing about the Continental Divide that's very important to Duluth, because of the Continental Divide, the railroads located here. Railroads will follow Continental Divides because it puts them above the water. It puts them above the creeks and the rivers. So because of the Eastern Continental Divide, we became a train city. And because we became a train city, we were one of the major stops between Atlanta and Gainesville for the trade of cotton and the sale of cotton. Now I'm showing you this tonight because we actually purchased this for $8 in a local boutique. So now cotton is a trendy thing. It used to be an old Mojo, now it's a trendy decor. So you can buy those on Main Street. But that railroad is still very important to our economic stability. Even though it doesn't stop here anymore, it goes through Duluth 26 to 34 times a day. One day. That's why we're going to always have a traffic problem in downtown Duluth. But that's an old Mojo, the Continental Divide, that is now a cool Mojo for us today. Right? You know, I'm convinced that every city has something unique about it. And you may have to really work hard to uncover what it is or even to articulate what it is, but I think Duluth does a great job at that. We have learned that competitive strategy is all about being different. So that's why we are really working hard to make sure that Duluth is a little bit edgier and a little bit different. Okay, one last thing I want to say before we change slides. This council and this city staff, we share the same vision. And it's taken us a few years to have the dialogue that we need to have. But I'm so proud tonight to say that we all realize what a great city we're leading, and we are a destination city. So this council is ready to up the ante and do some really cool projects this year, which I'm going to share with you. We are not Las Vegas, and we are not what's another cool place? New Orleans. We're not San Francisco, but we are unique, and we are unique to our area. So tonight, we're going to talk about that a little more. Now, I want to take a quick look back at our vision statements. And I promise I won't stay on these long, but I think this is really important. In the shovel are our 4 vision statements for the city. I'll give you a chance just to look at those. I want to elaborate on them. Attractive destination, quality community, world-class government, and a sustainable economic environment. Those are our vision statements. They have been our vision statements for 7 years. Now, if you look to the right, you see 4 qualities of a lifelong community, a place that you might want to live from birth to heaven. So when we plan projects and we spend money, we try to make sure that our projects are full of social capital, which means that we engage our citizens and we value citizens. We make sure that our projects are earning projects that bring new job opportunities to the area, because we know our millennials are going to probably change jobs about 9 or 10 times before they retire. We want to make sure that our city is full of vitality, that we're safe, beautiful, attractive, wellness options. And we want to make sure that our lifestyle options are plentiful, that you have different places to live, different types of entertainment, that art is a prevalent part of our city. So those are the things that we keep in mind before we approve projects. So if you'll keep all this in mind, you'll be able to understand the projects that I'm telling you that have been approved. And notice we are tweeting tonight if anybody would like to do that. Oh, yeah, thank you. All right, now if you'll notice over to my left and your right, we have Jenny Troutman. And you probably already noticed her. Jenny is what you call a visual facilitator. And she comes to a meeting and she brings clarity and vision to projects. And we asked Jenny to come tonight and try to illustrate what I'm talking about. And then at the end of the meeting, I think we'll have a very beautiful marketing tool that we'll be able to display and use in different ways. So Jenny, all eyes are on you right now, and we'll come back to you. I'm hearing impaired, and I was at a conference last year that had a visual facilitator, and it just made a world of difference for me, so I really wanted to try that tonight. So thank you, Jenny. All right, so keeping all these things in mind, we're going to look at some of our accomplishments. Oh, excuse me, thank you. All right, I asked all of the 7 departments and the council members to please tell me what you think the 2014 highlights were. Now, for a few years, I felt like I was saying some of the same things over and over. But I am happy to say now that there is so much going on, I'm not going to be able to tell you everything tonight. I'm going to give you a lot of tidbits of information, and you'll be able to move out into the lobby and see a lot of graphics. You'll be able to ask questions, or maybe you might think of things you want to ask us later. So just hang in there with me. One of the first things that we did this in 2014 that we've received a lot of praise about is all the signage that is going up over the city. It's really beautiful, isn't it? $300,000 worth of signage went up. And the good news is it was all paid for with SPLOST money. Now, this is not a SPLOST election year, so I am going to take a moment to say we desperately need SPLOST to be renewed every time it comes up. Do you realize that any time you spend a penny in this county, we get a portion of it? So people that shop at the Mall of Georgia are helping pay for the things we're doing. So please, splosh is critical. You'll hear that a lot tonight. But our signs are beautiful. This was all part of improving our communication around the city. We've really upped up all of our social media. We've really worked on that this year. We had tremendous events. Our largest event was the Duluth Fall Festival, which many people said was absolutely one of Duluth's greatest mojos, one of our greatest magic. In one weekend, we brought in about 100,000 people in one weekend. The Fall Festival, as you know, supports many of our projects that we do downtown, so it's a great festival. We also had some other great events. We had a wonderful July 3rd event here. We had New Year's Eve. We've had great concerts. We've had food trucks galore, which was really popular. The Duluth Fine Art League hosted a couple of art walks during the food truck night. So we had some wonderful events, record crowds too. And the music, I'm going to give you a new tagline, follow the divide to good music. I like that, don't you? On one side of the divide, we have the festival stage. We had record crowds at our summer concerts. On the other side of the divide, we have Red Clay Music Foundry. And you know that Eddie brings in some phenomenal music there. So you could follow the divide through Duluth and hear some great music. Also happening in this same category is we did install Ascension, a piece of public art, which was fully funded by AGCO, over $100,000 for that project. So thank you, AGCO, and that's one of our mojos, some people said, was the public art that we're bringing here. And I want to compliment the Duluth Public Art Commission. They launched themselves during 2014, and some of these people are here tonight if you want to raise your hand. But they worked all last year, and excuse me, we'll be unveiling our very first Duluth Public Art Master Plan sometime in March or April, and they have really worked hard on that. So thank you, DPAC. Good job. All right, next slide. Let's talk about some of the other things we have going on. Yeah, what's she doing there? All right, we have 69 streets in the city limits of Duluth, and we worked last year, during 2014, we used over 6,000 tons of asphalt to pave and patch our streets. We know that patching and paving streets is important to you. It adds value to your neighborhood, and it adds value to our city, so that's something that we will continue doing. In fact, we're in Norman Downs this week. I know we're driving them crazy, but we are getting a lot of roads patched. We are continuing to implement our stormwater projects. We appreciate so much the average of $36 a year that you pay for that stormwater fee is really helping us go in now and replace pipes that are up to 50 years old. So to keep you from being stuck at home for a couple of days, we're going ahead and going in and getting some of these pipes replaced with that stormwater money. So that's a great project we're doing. Also, safety. I know you've heard all the different statistics about how safe we are. According to the FBI, we are the 6th safest city in Georgia. We did expand our K-9 unit this year. And some of the statistics are in your annual report, but I think the police had over 30,000 service calls during the year of 2014, so they do stay very busy. Chief Belcher, as many of you know, has been with us for over 32 years. And Chief Belcher remembers, this is an old Mojo story, he remembers the days when there would be one police officer on duty. And he was on duty one day and he got a domestic call. Where are you, Chief? He got a domestic call, and he went, and a man was butchering a hog in his living room. And guess who called? His wife. Yeah. So I'm sure he's got some good stories for us. Another mojo that citizens said they really liked about Duluth were our parks. And we are one of 3 cities in Gwinnett County that has a parks program. So a lot of cities can't offer the parks and the parks programs that we have. We spent almost $3 million in our parks during 2014. If you've been to Bunton Park, you'll see a phenomenal state-of-the-art playground, as well as a lot of other improvements. And W.P. Jones Park also had a lot of improvements. So our Parks and Recs Board, we appreciate all that you do to keep our parks looking great. Just for your information, and I think you'll find this exciting, we are adding over 530 residential units to the City of Duluth during 2015. Did you hear that? That hasn't happened since I've been mayor. But I was proud. That's a good sign, isn't it? And that's all of the city limits. So that's a great sign. We have heard from some people that they were leaving Duluth because they couldn't find that next house. So we're really trying to address that and put in more residences, high-level residential projects. All right, next slide. Economic development around the city. Let's talk about some different areas. Let's talk about Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. And from this point on, I'm going to call it PIB. Okay? We have a group called PIB 5, and they named themselves that because there are five miles of Peachtree Industrial within the city limits. That's all, just 5 miles. Sometimes that stretch can feel neglected. So a group of business owners in that area, and you're going to meet a couple of them in a few minutes, started a group along with a councilman called PIB 5, and they're looking closely at what's going on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. Why are buildings vacant? What can we do to make them not be vacant? So it's a great focus. And if you look over to the right, you can see me standing. It looks like a tomb, doesn't it? But actually it's a tunnel. And I want to tell you another Mojo story. When you're going down Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, there is a cow pasture on both sides. Well, when you ride over that part of PIB, you're riding over a cow tunnel. And this is a picture of the cow tunnel. When PIB was built, the owner of the farm, which Mr. Burton, he was our teacher, he made a deal with the Georgia Department of Transportation to put a tunnel in so his cows could go to the Chattahoochee River and get water. So you may be driving over a cow when you're going down PIB. Just recently we announced a great new development at the intersection of Sugarloaf and PIB. This is the Fuquay development. It will be a big mixed-use development. I think it's equivalent to a $98 million development. People are already talking about that. Chris told me today that people are calling and wanting to buy up the property on PIB because they know this development is coming in. So we've got some exciting things going on in Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. I know you want to hear about this. Update on Dreamland. Thank you, Tim. Where are you? Representing Dreamland. Dreamland is delayed their opening a little bit. I think it's the end of the summer. Is that correct? But for good reasons. You can see the beautiful drawing of what it's going to look like. Dreamland and the city have decided that in order for Dreamland not to be a part of a construction zone once they're open, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the demolition of the building that was the old Parsons building. It is now the home of New Dawn and Accessorize Again. And I won't go into this a lot because I could talk about it for 30 or 40 minutes, but they're well aware, all these tenants, that this progress was happening. And they've all been notified and they know about the demolition. We'll be what's the word? Demolizing? we'll demolish the building and it will probably stay empty for a little while. It's probably just going to be a green space for a little while. And then you say, well, what about Parsons Alley? Because you're moving part of the building. How could it be an alley? Well, Parsons Alley is going to stay. It'll just be one-sided for a while. But Dreamland's has come back with some really beautiful renderings. They're going to be honoring the history and honoring what Parsons Alley used to be through some drawings and some art within the restaurant. So I think when they come back, we're going to have something even more beautiful. And then hopefully a building will go up where the old building was, and we'll have an alley again. We can answer more questions about that later. That's exciting. I want to point out at this time about budget forecasting. This council, of course, we meet hours every year to do an annual budget, but I want to tell you what we did during 2014, because I really think it's noteworthy. In addition to setting an annual budget, we spent hours budget forecasting. And I don't know, you may already know this. I've learned a lot being mayor. But what we did, we sat down and we looked at every single project that's coming up, and we talked about how are we going to fund everything that we're talking about. So we know how we're going to do this. I don't want you to sit out there and be nervous. How are we going to pay for all this? We have planned all that. And if you are joining the Citizen Budget Committee, which is starting next month, you will get to hear all of this. We would love for you to join that and listen to the facts and help us work through this. But we really worked hard on how are we going to pay for this without having to raise the taxes and get the things that we want. So we are doing that. Okay, Buford Highway, next slide. All right, Buford Highway, it took 30 or 40 years for it to really look terrible, and I think it's going to take 30 or 40 years for it to look great again. All right, so it's already looking so much better, isn't it? Our code enforcement, they have been busy out there. They've made a lot of enemies, but they've made a lot of friends too, and it looks better. Look at this end of Buford Highway. Already, because these companies know that we're going to be putting in a median, Dunkin' Donuts and Dairy Queen immediately put in about $2 million of improvements. So Buford Highway is starting to look better. Look at the clock gallery up there. Jay Martin's been in Duluth for 21 years, and he came back and located on Buford Highway. So we appreciate people that are investing in us. So I'm going to tell you more about Buford Highway in a few minutes. So let's talk about some of our challenges. Now I know you've been looking at this chicken and you've been wondering about her, and I forgot to mention her earlier, so I'll mention her now and then I'll come back to you with that, Lisa, okay? We do have challenges, and I'll tell you one of our biggest challenges is money. It's just hard to find ways to pay for everything, but the good news is that all of our building permits are up, our occupational taxes are up, our alcohol permits are going up, so business is coming back up, so we're getting some more money, so that is a challenge. And another challenge is business retention, just keeping businesses here and helping them stay healthy and open and doing what we can to support them. This white chicken is actually from Van Trest Farm, which was a big poultry operation here in the 40s and the 50s. And Van Trest was told that they needed to improve this chicken by genetically growing it into a long-leg, white, large-breasted chicken. And we have named her Dee Dee. And you can figure that out. So this is Dee Dee. And here's the funny story. This is what's so funny about this Mojo story. Purdue heard about this and bought Van Trest Farm. So the beginning of Purdue actually started here in Duluth at Van Trest Farm. Now, because of this wonderful lady, and by the way, these ladies lay up to 360 eggs a year, the inspiration came for Foghorn, and he's running for mayor. I did not know that. Not happy about that. But the Looney Tune character, Foghorn Leghorn, was created because of this white, long-legged, large-breasted chicken from Duluth, Georgia. So Dee Dee is his girlfriend, is what we have decided. Downtown development, let me talk about some of the challenges that we do have downtown. You're probably already seeing them. We've started the Main Street sidewalk. We're widening the sidewalks. We've started the Highway 120 project, which comes over the railroad track, which I think has been in the works for about 15 years. Really, I'm serious. But they have started it now. Some of the trees are gone, but that's where a lane's going to be. So we hate to lose trees, but we are replanting some of the trees when we can. This is going to be a challenge, and it's going to be going on for about 18 months. So you're not going to be happy about the traffic for a while, but this is part of our challenge. It means progress, doesn't it? Another one of our challenges is, even though diversity, many of our millennials say diversity is a great mojo for us. It's a great magic thing we have going on. Diversity is also a challenge because it's really hard to get these different types of cultures involved in our government. And it's so nice to see some different cultures here tonight, but it's a challenge to get different cultures to serve on committees and to serve on boards. So that's something that we really got to work on. Crime prevention is still going to be a huge challenge. People are savvier, smarter, technology taking over. I know a lot of our calls to some stores are for credit card frauds. So crime is still going to be a challenge, but we have a wonderful police department. And then Buford Highway is absolutely a challenge. You've heard of all the things that we have going on there. We are going to be starting the median project in the summer. The median will be a green median, meaning that we'll be planting something in the middle. It'll be going from the intersection of Highway 120 to Davenport Road, which is really very short. Not very long at all. That's just all we can afford at this time. But that's going to make Buford Highway look beautiful. And then the Davenport intersection will eventually become a major intersection, but that is not going to be happening over the next couple of years. That project is pending on all the residential houses that we hope to get behind the City Hall, behind the historic cemetery. Sorry. So those are all big challenges for us. We are still really working hard to bring residential housing to downtown Duluth. And we do have some developers that are looking at that property that I just mentioned. So we hope to bring about 100 houses right to downtown Duluth. That'll make our restaurants and our entertainment all boost. So let's see. Library, I did want to mention that. We are going to be getting a county library. This will be a SPLOST-funded library as well. We are working with the county, and it's slated to open in about 2 years. So that's another project that we'll be working on. So let's move on to the next project that I think you're going to be excited about. This is the old bridge down at Rogers Bridge Park. How many of you remember that bridge? I know. That picture in the corner is actually from my senior yearbook. And that is a Van Trest farm, and they call that white chicken the chicken of tomorrow. I mean, that's so funny. That's true. She's here, isn't she? She was the chicken of tomorrow. We initiated a project with Johns Creek, Gwinnett County, and Fulton County to restore this bridge. Isn't that great? It will never be a bridge for cars. It will be a pedestrian bike bridge. We have already completed the study. The City of Duluth paid for that study. And it's about a $3 to $5 million project to refurbish this bridge. So I don't think that's going to happen during 2015. But what we can do during 2015 is create a task force, start talking about it, start working with Johns Creek, and try to get this bridge reconstructed. I think that would be a great amenity for us. Don't you agree? It's beautiful. So that is our challenges. We've got a lot in store. There's so many things going on. I'm excited about it. This is another one of our cool logos, actually designed by James, our city manager. I think he's out there. And what the point I want to make here is, look at those markers and the flags. Twice a year, Public Works puts 800 markers out. That's definitely one of our mojos, wouldn't you say? Oh, yes. It is. We are being replicated, this project, and that is what really makes us cool. Just like Shakespeare has in his play from Hamlet, to thine own self be true. And that's what really finding your mojo is about, is finding those quirky little stories and keeping them. Instead of place making, I feel like here in Duluth, we are place keeping. We're trying to keep what's special and magic about our hometown, but at the same time update ourselves and be progressive. So what I want to do for for the next few minutes is give you a whirlwind tour of what I think Duluth is going to look like in 20 years. Okay, now I will be 80, and I'm going to be walking around looking for these things. Now I have to make a disclaimer now, because the council, I did not say, council, do you agree with this? Do you approve all of these? But these are not all my ideas. These are ideas and things I've heard from you and from them. So just listen, I'm going to roll through this. And look, there's Dee Dee following me around town. Okay, I'm going to go kind of fast, and Chris is going to point them out to you. All right, I hope in 20 years that we have sidewalk connections over the whole city, going down by your house, Vicki. I want the whole city to be connected, because I want us to have a fully funded neighborhood stabilization program for sidewalks and paving. So that's 20 years. I hope in 20 years, after our public master art plan is 20 years old, there will be murals all over the city. In particular, at Pleasant Hill Road and Buford Highway under that bridge. I want public art in all of our parks. I want public art all around the city. I want us to be a regional destination for entertainment. And you think, well, where are we going to put all this entertainment? I'll tell you that in just a minute. I want to expand the city limits. And this is big. All right, I want to start over at Steve Reynolds Boulevard. Okay? And I want to go all the way north to Old Peachtree Road. I know. Now, we need this because we need more commercial revenue in our city. We do not have one hotel or motel coming to us. We could get a lot of taxes off of those places. So we need to expand our city limits. If we expand, this is 20 years, now 20 years, if we expand our city limits, we will bring in a wonderful performing arts center over at Hutchins, the Gwinnett Arena, the Gwinnett Center. Did y'all hear that? I want that in our city limits. I want to have the Gwinnett Place Mall in our city limits. When people turn off 85, they think they're in the city limits already. And they're not. And I want us to take care of it, because I think that we could really bring the whole spirit of Duluth in this whole area. Let's get that in the papers. I want to expand the city limits up Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. I want to go north. There's a little more area up that way that I think that we could go for. Okay, I think that's for all for my annexation. Buford Highway. This is how I see Buford Highway. I see Buford Highway having 4 lanes all the way from Peachtree Corners, which starts right at Suzanne's Kitchen, all the way up to 20. I think that'll really help that whole area become more vibrant. I think that the intersection of the Public Safety Building and Davenport Road, I think from Davenport Road on that side of the Buford Highway all the way back through Proctor Square apartments and all Proctor Square, I think all of that's going to be mixed-use development with high-density housing. That means that we'll have 3,000 residences that are in walking distance of historic downtown Duluth. That's going to bring a lot of restaurants and entertainment. I think that our library will be 17 years old, and we'll be talking about a new one already. I think in 20 years we're going to have a parking deck in downtown Duluth, so get ready. We're going to need it. We're going to need more parking. I don't like parking decks either, but we have to talk about that. I think that because of the development at Peachtree Industrial and PIB, I've said that in Sugarloaf, because of that development there, right across the street is going to be another high-density development. I think that's going to be a major intersection. So, with all this said, the one question that you asked us the most, and I know you're going to agree with me, and I've saved it for the last. You always want to know about Proctor Square. And I've avoided it, haven't I? Well, I'm going to Answer that question with a riddle. Why did the long-legged, large-breasted, white chicken cross the eastern continental divide?
Just gonna tell us the answer. Looking for Wendy's.
Blow it up. Yeah. Nah. That's what you want us to say, isn't it? Well, no, we can't blow it up. We don't own it. That's what I want to say to you guys. When you ask the council, what are you going to do about Proctor Square? We don't own it. We don't own Proctor Square. We would love for them to blow it up. And this is what we want. Oh, it's already gone. But it's not ours. We don't own it. So we are working closely with the people that own it. And you notice it's been painted and it's clean and everything's beautiful over there. But it's just still an eyesore. So I don't have an answer for you. But I can tell you what we want. Is that what you want? That's what I thought. All right, so I hope you had a good time hearing about what we've accomplished and a little bit about what's ahead. And now we're going to do probably the most important thing about the night is to honor some of the great locals that we have. This is my favorite logo. I love logos. And I love this one. It's my favorite one. I love seeing it all over the city on different shops and on your cars and things. And you've got a new one tonight. And if you look in the back of that logo, there's a watermark of the world. Because you could change that logo to local is global. Because if you look in your annual report, you can see what our diversity is. And it is one of our mojos. It is what makes us magic. So local is good. It's very important. We all need to spend every penny that we can right here locally. And if you can't spend it in Duluth, then spend it in Gwinnett. But local is so important. And our local citizens are the ones that really make the difference here. So I want to ask our our council members to come down now. And we are going to celebrate Capture the Spirit Award. You know, we started this last year. And again this year, we are going to each award one person or organization a Capture the Spirit Award. Here is the criteria for that. You have to use purple trash bags. I think you only have to do 3 out of these. Is that right? 3 or 4? You have to shop local. You have to be an active voter. You have to be a volunteer. Use city amenities, which I've named it a lot tonight. And you have to bleed purple. I'm not sure anybody does that but me. Kay, maybe. All right, so each of the council members chose someone that they would like to recommend. So I think we're beginning with Marcia.
Okay. Well, the mayor is a tough act to follow, but I will try to keep up the pace. So first I want to say that I was so appreciative that you mentioned the Public Arts Master Plan, but you forgot. I know that you all love coming to meetings. You are having such a good time tonight that you're going to want to come to another meeting Thursday night. Across the street in the Street Smarts building, we're having a Public Arts Master Plan open house. So mark it down, and we hope to see you all back there so that you can help plan what happens in the public arts. So that's my
Good, thank you.
contribution to the state of the city. But if you'll join me, I am so excited tonight. We have 2 incredible, remarkable people that I want to honor tonight. There's so many people in the city who contribute so much and who love this city, but there are not too many people who come from as far away to adopt a new home and then get so involved that you would never know that they weren't native born like Mayor Nancy. So Sharon and Bernard Robertson moved here from South Africa, and they have just embraced this community. They're property owners. They are just incredible volunteers. They are, in fact, the people who spearheaded the formation and the continuation of the PIB 5 group. It's very easy to get something started, But to keep something going takes really special people, and they are just at it all the time, helping to make the whole community fabulous. Sharon also sits on the Gwinnett Medical Center Women's Advisory Council. And they're just involved in so many different things. And so I could not think of people who bled purpler, is that a word? That'll be my word for tonight, than Sharon and Bernard. And I just want to thank you so much for your contributions to the city.
Melanie Sheldon is my honoree tonight. I've known Melanie for many years, mostly through the Duluth Fall Festival and various committees that she served on through the city. Melanie has served on the Duluth Fine Arts League since its beginning. She was also on the selection committee for our Ascension art piece, which Nancy showed you tonight, and it can be seen at the roundabout at West Lawrenceville Street. She was a member of our wayfinding committee, which was instrumental in selecting our city signage and throughout our downtown and our monuments, which can be seen in places to the entrances of Duluth. One of those was just recently completed at Pleasant Hill Road, right on the other side of the river. She has volunteered for many years with the Duluth Fall Festival, helping to set up, tear down, and sell at the general store. Melanie has worked with Wellspring Living Foundation for 5.5 years. She's taught art therapy to the women there for many years and currently sets up and decorates the thrift shop and the treasure shop. Before Wellspring, she volunteered at the Duluth Cooperative Ministry, stocking shelves with food. She served on Duluth Middle School and Duluth High School PTA boards. She served on Duluth Community Scholarship Committee, which gives community college scholarships for needy Duluth High School students. She has served on the Advisory Council at Duluth Medical Center. God, you're busy. She's a member of Duluth First Methodist Church, where she taught Sunday school, confirmation classes, Bible study, and assisted with the Flower Guild. She's shared her artistic abilities with us with paintings in our community. Parsons Alley flower pots, Joan Glancy Rehab Center ceiling panels for patient rooms, the painted a mural in the children's nursery at Duluth Methodist, painted the Duluth Middle School historical mural on the front hall showing all of Duluth middle schools since the early 1900s. One of the suggested criteria for nominations is to shop locally. I'm not sure how much she does of that, but I know she eats locally because my wife and I see her and her husband Russ in the Duluth Diner quite often on Sunday mornings. Thank you, Melanie, for all your volunteer efforts and for sharing your artistic talents.
Introduce Miss Wanda Jackson Benowitz, and I make sure to say the Jackson just to let you know our families have been intertwined and around here as long as we can remember. Wanda Jackson grew up on Metachurch Road, was born at Joan Glancy. She's a native, local is good. I became familiar with her particular branch of the Jacksons about 50 years ago when her little sister used to chase me all around the playground in the first grade and kick me in the shin with her little patent leather shoes. So that was my first girlfriend. Her little sister was my first girlfriend, so I will say that. And then several years later, we have sons the same age, and we got to see each other maybe a couple of times at Principal Judy Sullivan's office, because for some reason those two boys tend to get in trouble in kindergarten and first grade. So I don't know if anybody else has ever been kicked out of kindergarten, but Charlie and David got suspended from kindergarten. And I'm certain it was all Charlie's fault. Couldn't have been David's fault.
No,
Had to be Charlie's fault. But Wanda has given back to this community her whole life. She has spent over 31 years as a teacher right here at Duluth Middle and Hull Middle. She's still teaching today, often known when she feels like it. No, you'll go back. But you know, she ended up teaching the children of some of the children she had taught, much like Brooke. I think she taught Brooks, right? So a lot of that went on. 31 years here in the city teaching our children. She served about 11 years on soccer boards. The West Gwinnett Soccer, Atlanta United Fire was very instrumental in getting those organizations up to where they're the premier soccer organizations in the state of Georgia right now. Wanda has served on the Parks and Recs Advisory Board for 12 years or so. About 10 of those as the chairperson. So we talk about the amenities we have, the Parks and Rec, and all the effort that's gone into that. Wanda has been very instrumental in the master park plans and leading the Parks and Rec Advisory Board to advise the city on what the citizens need, what the amenities should be. And this city would not be where it is today without people like Wanda. And I can say nothing but thank you so much for all your involvement for all these years.
Me, okay. Mine, Andrew. I don't have as much to say about Andrew because he's not as old. Andrew is a student at Georgia Gwinnett College here in Gwinnett. And the reason I chose Andrew as my person to give the Capture the Spirit Award to is because I was the chairperson of the Duluth Fall Festival during 2014. And this is 54 committees. That's a lot of committees. But Andrew was the chairperson of the parking committee. Now, did you hear me say that we had over 100,000 people in the city? And Andrew was the chairperson of that committee. He is by far the youngest chair that I had to work with me for that year. I was so impressed with him at the meetings. He would stand up and give the updates and ask for people to volunteer, and he's just got so much leadership capacity. You do, Andrew. I'm really proud of you. I've known him for a long time. He actually grew up in Duluth. He's a product of Duluth schools. And I know that you are all proud of him as well, and I'm sure that we will see him be a leader in other capacities. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
But it's my pleasure and privilege to honor Arthur Salas. That's your name? Yes. Arthur Salas. Arthur has donated and accomplished a lot of things in the community that most people don't know about. He goes about his business very quietly, but I want to say this. Arthur started Duluth Travel in a building that's no longer here, over on the corner at 120 and Main Street. We tore that one down and made him move. But he's still in the city, employs about 10 people, so he is providing jobs here in the community and providing a great service.
57.
You told me 10. Okay,
On the books.
57.
On the
Well, 57. I didn't ask the right question. Okay. 57 jobs. Thank you. Now, the other piece of this is Arthur was on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He was the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals for 2 years, on the Zoning Board of Appeals for a total of 8. During his tenure as the Zoning Board chairman, some of you in the crowd will remember the threat of a Walmart on PIV.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he and I were on that Zoning Board of Appeals. We wound up getting sued over it. So we went through a lot of pain and agony to reach the decisions that we did, and that is where now the Fuquay development is going to be. So I think we won all the way around on that one. But Arthur also does a lot to support our police department. I see the chief standing back there guarding the door, but he does a lot of things. We have a police awards banquet every year. Arthur contributes to the success of that every year. One of the things he does is provide a trip for the Officer of the Year. Every year provides that to the police department. In addition, he has provided some of the nice things that they need in order to accomplish their mission. In 2013, it was tasers. This year, he's working on his donation is to provide body cameras, things that you can read about in the news, of course. But Arthur has a habit of doing these things and staying below the radar and not asking any recognition. So tonight, we want to recognize you. My honor to call him a friend.
is Louis Singh. For those of y'all who do not know Louis, I'd like to introduce Louis to you. Let me tell you just a few things I know about him. I know that he's a nice guy. I know he's got a beautiful family. And I know he kind of doesn't look like me. But what I did know is how accomplished he is. I got 3 pages here. But I'm just going to tell you a little bit about him. The reason why I thought of Louis when we were asked who to recognize in the community is when you live in Duluth, you either capture the love for the community or you don't. And you either get it because you were born and raised here or because you just happen to catch that infectious love for the city. Louis is an example of someone who has captured that love of the city. And what he seems to be is he seems to be that bridge between 2 different communities. The old southern community that we're trying to hold on to and the diversity of our community that's here. And that's here to stay. And bringing businesses and bringing family and bringing different cultures to the community. I have seen Louis over and over again pull Duluth this way, pull the Asian community this way, and try to pull them together over and over again. He's done that through reaching out to do public, the police department appreciations with the Chinese community. He has brought the instrumental part of our International Food Festival. If any of y'all didn't come to that this past August, it was a class act. I mean, he even got a renowned chef from Taiwan to fly in and give a cooking demonstration. I'm going to refer back to my stuff here. I know he volunteered for the Fall Festival. He brought his family involved. And I think Jacqueline's now a runner. She may be a future person for my committee for the road race next year. He also, y'all may not know this, the International Food Festival donated $1,500 to Duluth High School. So it's always... to let you know how accomplished he is, I'll read a section of this. Louis is an enterprise architect with Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Yes, he commutes to the airport from Duluth. It would be much easier for him to relocate. He commutes from Duluth. He specializes in airport strategic management as well as the performance and IT management. He joined the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in 2004, where he holds a lead position and serves as the team principal over the team of engineers with multiple disciplines. He and his team coordinate with general contractors and played a lead role in the new international terminal design system. He and his team successfully implemented all IT systems at the Maynard Jackson Junior International Terminal in 2012. The budget cost of that project was $1.3 billion. He's a great asset and a citizen to have in the community. He applies for all kinds of volunteer positions, and when we say we need somebody, he's the first one to raise his hand. And for that, I'm thankful for having him in the community, and I encourage him and his family to continue reaching out to everyone here and continue making the city a great place to live.
Well, I think that's a great way to end, isn't it? Local is good. Focusing on the people is really important. I want to recognize Principal Smith for being here from Duluth High School and some of the students from Duluth High School. Chattahoochee Elementary and Mason Elementary. We had students from those 2 schools serving as your hosts. Thank you. And I want to again thank our sponsors tonight, Gwinnett Medical, Gwinnett Community Bank, Thompson, Sweeney and Pereira Law Firm, Pond and Company, and Duluth Civitan for hosting the reception that's going to be happening right after this. And let's take a look now and see what Jenny has done over here. How's it going over here, Jenny?
You talk really fast.
I do. All right, I guess she'll keep working on that, but you can kind of see what we were covering. I like that. I can't wait to spend time on that. I hope you've had a good time. Yeah. You know, another great example of how you can use art in your business world. I love to promote arts. I hope you've had a great time tonight. I have had a wonderful time. I could not wait tonight to talk to you because there's so many great things. I didn't even get to tell you about all the things going on the block, and there's just some wonderful things, projects out in the lobby are posters and drawings. City staff is here so we can answer your questions. So please ask us and let us tell you what's going on. We have a great place to live. I hope that you feel as blessed and as excited about living here as I do. And I've got to end by saying, by using our logo, I hope that you dig it. I hope you dig living here. Thank you for coming tonight.